In this video, I'm going to show you how to easily close your pool for the winter without using any special equipment. So before you even get started, you should go to your pool supply retailer. I've already brought in a sample of water to get tested because you want to make sure you balance your chemistry as best as possible. So your pH, alkalinity, and softness, so you want to make sure you have adequate salt if you have a salt water pool like I have. And pick up one of these kits. So this is a winterizing closing kit. The kit includes instructions, but it's actually very straightforward. There's 3 different types of chemicals inside. There's a shock, algicide, and basically you just pour them all in, so it's very straightforward. So before vacuuming the pool, we're going to take our skimmer cover off and empty our skimmer basket. So you want to make sure you vacuum the pool very well before you close it. So before we start draining the pool, I'm going to use a couple of hose fittings. And the reason why I'm doing this is because the water level is going to drop below the skimmer. So I need a weight at the end to keep the hose below the skimmer level. So I'll just go ahead and connect that. Okay, so we're going to use the pool pump to first backwash the filter because we've just finished cleaning the pool. We want to make sure the filter's nice and clean before we shut down for the winter. And then we're going to use the pump to drain the water. So I'll open up the panel, get that ready, and get my drain hose. And I like to use this little trick. I put a little screwdriver, make it easier to lay out the drain line out to the street. Okay, so I'm going to put my pump and set it to backwash. And just turn on the filter. Okay, now I've finished backwashing. It's been about 4.5 minutes. So I'm going to stop the filter. Switch from backwash to waste. And this is just going to accelerate the drainage of the pool, bypassing the filter. Now, depending on your climate, and ours is cooler, you may have to blow out your lines so that they don't freeze and burst. So for this step, you can either use a more powerful shop vac or a leaf blower. And we've got a gas-powered, more powerful leaf blower, so that's the one that we like to use. Now I've switched my filter pump back to filter. I will turn up my gas leaf blower and try to blow out all the water through the system and out through the jets. And we'll blow through the skimmer line. And you can see the water being blown out of the jets. It's just drizzling out, but I'll turn up the gas leaf blower and I'll start blowing it all out through the system and through those jets. I'm going to remove one of the heater vent plugs while it's still pumping. It's a good idea now to use your skimmer basket to keep all of the parts that you're removing. going to go ahead and remove the pressure gauge off of the filter. And what's it called? Below the filter, you're going to see a big drain plug. Remove it. So while the pool's draining, I'm going to go ahead and take the lights out. And I have a little trick that I like to do. So I use a couple of grocery bags, an old Frisbee, and some zip ties. So the light just comes right out easily. This style anyway, it's just a light pressure fit. I sit it on the Frisbee inside the bag so that the glass of the bulb doesn't scratch. Put the grocery bag over it. I like to do 2 layers. Give it a little spin. And then apply the zip ties. I like to put a couple. And then we just keep it a couple of feet away from the pool edge. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to remove the skimmer basket from the pump and remove 2 drain plugs to let any leftover water within the pump drain out of there. Remove the pump drain plug. Okay, now that all the water is drained out of the pump and I've cleaned the skimmer basket for the pump, I'm going to put that back and just simple hand tighten. And I'm going to put the drain plugs now actually in so that mice don't accidentally crawl into the pump. And these can just be hand tightened. Now we're going to disconnect the drain line, and it's a simple flathead screwdriver right there. Okay, now we have to disconnect the salt chlorinator and pack it away indoors for the winter. So there's just 2 simple connections here. Disconnect the cable from the panel. Okay, now we're just going to cover the openings of the lines where I've taken out the salt chlorinator, and I just use a little bit of J-cloth and some hair elastics. Like that. And like that. Okay, and then remember this drain at the bottom of the filter? I cover that too. The reason why I use J-cloth is because it's porous, so if there's any fluid in there, it'll continue to drain on its own. Now that the water level is just where we want it, below the jets, about 18 to 24 inches below the top of the liner, we're going to remove the jet directional ball and that's just simply removed by hand. Now there's an inner portion here, it's just a thread, and that needs to be removed. It's usually very stiff, so I usually like to use a adjustable plier and a rag so as not to damage the outer threads. So now I'm going to put my chemicals from my winterizing kit into the pool, and I'm going to spread it around the pool rather than pouring it all in one location. Okay, so now I'm going to put my stair covers down. And these I just built with my son. They're just 2x3 frames, and we bought some blue tarpaulin, stapled it around the frame, and the cover will just clip right into that. Okay, so one of the last steps is that we're going to put this expansion foam inside of each of the lines. I have 2 lines, so one of mine goes out to the bottom catch, and the other one goes back to my pump. And so we stuff this in there, and then on top we put a plug. So this just goes in, you screw, and it tightens it. And then after that, we put one of these gizmos in. So what this is about, it's full of air. Inside this skimmer cavity here, it fills up with water over the winter. If there's any ice that forms, it'll compress this before it expands out the skimmer catch area, so protecting it from cracking. Okay, now I've got my pool cover out, and we're going to open it up on the long part here, orient it to be the same positioning as the pool itself, so it'll be easier to carry it on. Okay, after orienting the cover inside the pool, the cover just clips into a track above the liner right here, from my pool anyway. Just fits in and you slip down. Alright, now that the cover is all clipped in, to secure it through the winter, there's these little clips that just go above where I've inserted them and just tapped on with a rubber mallet. And I've saved mine from last year just in a Ziploc bag, and I do them about every 18-20 inches all around the pool. Okay, and that's it. The cover's all clipped in, our equipment's been drained and sealed for the winter, all power's off, gas lines shut off, and we're done. So now you can kick back, relax through the winter, and be sure to subscribe to my channel and look at my next video on how to open the pool in the spring.